A few nights ago I made some videos showing how to use the MallinCam Universe software, and after I made them and posted them to YouTube I realized that the microphone volume was set exceptionally low, making it very difficult for people to hear what I was saying. So I'm going to attempt to remake some of those videos tonight. What I failed to mention at the start of part 1 is that the first thing you have to do is hook up the camera to the telescope. The camera comes with a T adapter so that you can put it directly into the 2-inch focuser on your telescope if you want to use it at its native f ratio, or you can insert the optional 2-inch focal reducer that ROC sells for the Universe. So either insert the T adapter or a 2-inch focal reducer and then slide the camera into the focuser draw tube. The next thing to do is to connect the USB cable to the camera and to an open USB port on the computer, and finally apply power to the camera. The camera comes with a 2 amp 110 volt to 12 volt regulated power supply, but you can also use a direct 12 volt source. Once the camera is connected, you'll notice that there's a little small switch on the back of the camera by the power plug, and that turns the cooling system on and off. When the switch is in the on position, a red LED will illuminate, letting you know that the internal cooling system is functional, and you will hear and see the fan blowing. If you don't need the cooling system, or if you're having problems with possible condensation on the glass window of the camera, you can flip the switch to the off position and the red LED will go off. Now that the camera is in the telescope and all the wires are connected, the first thing to do would be to click on the MallinCam software button, which is at the bottom right on my screen. The software starts and it shows the MallinCam Universe window. On the left 2/3 of the screen are the preview window, shown in both a white box and a gray box at this time, and on the right side you have what is called Panel Manager. The Panel Manager has 2 tabs. The first tab is Property tab, which contains all of the functions that can be changed in adjusting the camera, and the second tab is Picture tab, which allows you to select a name for a file, the type of file you want to grab, TIFF, bitmap, JPEG, or RAW. It'll allow you to pick where you want to save the captures, and then it'll allow you to preview both the captures and a stack of captures that this camera also performs. So for now we're going to go back to the Property tab. The first thing you do is click on Start Camera. I click the button and you can see the green line moving back and forth on the camera. Right now the camera is set in a 10 millisecond exposure mode, 10 ms. It is set to the full frame 3032 by 2018 ratio. There's also a 2x2 and a 4x4 bin ratio, but for now the camera is set in the full resolution mode. I'm going to change the exposure, and for that you just click on Change Exposure, and in this case I'm going to change the exposure to 15 milliseconds by typing over the 10 that was there and clicking OK. Now the camera is going to be taking exposures every 15 milliseconds. You notice that the image in the preview window got brighter, indicating that there's a longer exposure going on. As you can see, there are minutes, seconds, and milliseconds available for determining the exposure time. Right now I'm only in a 15 millisecond mode. Another important function is the histogram. Right now the histogram is in its full range, 0 to 255. ROC likes starting the histogram at around 140. So I've highlighted over the 255, typed in 140, and said OK. You notice the blue line slid over from the right to the midpoint, and the image in the preview window got brighter. I'm still not fully left on the edge of the histogram, so I could say let's try maybe 100 for the histogram value to the right and say OK. The line moves further towards the histogram, the image gets brighter. Another option is to just click on the Auto tab. What the Auto tab does is it adjusts the histogram maximum and minimum values to conform to the histogram. In this case, it went from 0 to 67. And as you can see, the preview window got much brighter than it was when you were at maximum histogram value of 0 to 255. Another important factor is gain. Right now the gain is set 6.878 dB. By moving the slider left or right, you can change the amount of gain. I've moved it to the maximum value of 26.007 dB, and as you notice, the screen got whited out. So for now I'm going to slide the gain to minimum, which is 6.878 dB, and the window got darker. One other important factor, especially when using long exposures, is this box called Long Power. You click on Long Power and that enables the amp glow filter. When you're in long exposure modes, as you know with the standard MallinCams, you start seeing the amp glow in the top left corner. When you engage the long power function, it applies an amp glow filter and almost totally eliminates any amp glow. When I was doing some tests at ECVAR with the 1-minute exposures, I was seeing basically no amp glow. When I went to longer exposures, maybe 90 seconds, then I started seeing a little bit of amp glow, but it was very negligible. As with the other MallinCams, you have the horizontal flip function, the vertical flip function. You have the ability to adjust the red, green, and blue values, or you can click on the one push white balance. This is similar to the AWC function in the other MallinCams. It'll do an automatic compensation for white balance. One important function used during focusing is using the cut area. The cut area is highlighted down here where I'm showing the cursor. You can grab an area of the screen. You can then say cut area, and then you click on full screen. And what you have accomplished is taking that small area from the full screen view and blown it up so that it will help you immensely doing the initial focusing. When you want to return to the full screen mode, you just click off full screen and click on restore. And now you're back to viewing the entire CCD chip area in the preview window. One other function is monochrome. It's very easy to change from a color view to a monochrome view by just clicking the monochrome box. As you noticed, the preview window went to grayscale from full color. So just by click of a button, you can go from color to monochrome. And that ends part 1 of the MallinCam Universe video.